You guys can hear me, right? Okay, good. I don't know what the topic is because you haven't asked me any questions yet. Once you ask me some questions, then I will respond with my answers. My answers are the topic. What is my vision of life after all this time and experience? Ugh, I think that's a pretty deep question to ask. I'll just say that most of the truly important things in life are not valued in this current world. Advice for young people: develop yourself. My advice for young people is you must untangle your mess so that you can be useful to yourself and others. If you don't untangle your mess, then your mess becomes our mess. So it's your responsibility as a human to figure out your problems and figure out yourself, not just your problems, but just figure out yourself, who you are, why you are the way you are. Why do you get angry at this? Why are you shy? Why do you get scared about things? Are you brave? Are you cowardly? Are you lazy? Are you ambitious? Are you arrogant? Figure out all of these things and figure out why. The why behind things is very important. And most people never even look. So what I would say is that's the biggest thing that you need to do is you need to develop yourself so that you know what's truly valuable in the world. And we have too many people who are not developed at all. And because they're not developed, they're easily manipulated, and they have been told to value the wrong things. That's my answer. Hello, Carlos. How's your homework been going? I hope your homework is going well. Good. So, you ask questions and I give answers. That's how this works. And I do like questions like Ibrahim's question. I get asked the stupid, boring grammar questions all the time. And that's fine. If you have grammar questions, fine. I'll answer those. But I do like big questions. I'm a philosophy guy. So, sure, you can ask me stuff like that if you want to. I can't promise I'll have a good answer, but you can ask me. The books, which books, Carlos? The ones I recommended to you? Oh, right. Good. I'm glad. Thank you, Abhishek. That's nice of you to say. I'm just a man trying to do my best to find my way in this world, as are we all. You don't know the nature of my content. Well, the nature of my content is a little bit hard to describe because most of it is me answering questions for people. And yeah, I do have a lot of answers. Let's put it this way. I'm working on my own book of answers about English and learning languages. I'm working on my own book. So that means I have a method. I have a method in techniques and concepts, lots of concepts. I'm a concept guy. So most of my stuff is concepts. I can answer questions, sure, but that's not really beneficial. Concepts is what I find to be more beneficial to helping students in this environment, especially since I don't really know you. I can't, you know, I'm here, but I can't see you. So I don't know you. So in this environment, the best I can do is provide general concepts that are useful. Excuse me. Oh, okay. One moment, please. What Carlos is asking, what about the word entropy? It is a very advanced word. Yeah. Entropy is usually used mostly in science, like thermodynamics, but it's also used somewhat in In systems theory, entropy is the idea of uncertainty or disorder in the system or in the information, right? So it's the measurement of disorder or chaos in a system. But yeah, that's a very advanced word. It's not used in many situations. Hello, Baran. Hello, Seema. What's the best way to learn a language, reading, writing, or listening? Gamar, the best way to learn a language is every way. People ask me this question all the time, and you want me to give you one answer, but that's a logical fallacy. When some questions have an answer that is only one thing, but this is not one of those questions. When you're asking the best way to learn something, it's silly to think that it would be one way. No, the best way to learn anything is every way that you can get that information, right? So reading will help you in one way. Listening will help you in another way. Writing will help you in another way, right? Reading, writing, listening, speaking, videos, apps, books, teachers, podcasts, live streams, every way that you can get that information, you should. That is the best way. There's no possible better way that involves fewer systems. In this case, the more systems that you have for learning this one thing, the better. Okay? Put it this way. We're talking about methods of input. Methods of input. All right? And the more methods of input that you have, the better. Okay? Gamar, you're asking the wrong question. You're asking the wrong question. When you're learning, we're not trying to get to the top of the mountain faster. That's not what we're trying to do. The goal of learning is not to get to the top of the mountain faster than anyone else. The goal is to know the mountain. Do you know the mountain or not? Okay? It's not about getting to the top and being like, look, I'm done. No. It's about knowing the mountain. Okay? And many acts in life are acts of efficiency, right? So there are many things that we do in life where we try to be more efficient. Efficiency means to do something with the least amount of work or effort and time. That's efficiency. But not everything in life is better when you're efficient. There are some things in life that are not acts of efficiency, they're acts of proficiency. To be proficient in something means to really know it well. Okay? To be proficient is to know it well. To be efficient is to get done with the least amount of work. I am not teaching anybody to get done with the least amount of work. If that's what you're interested in, you're in the wrong classroom. If all you want is speed, you're in the wrong place. Because I am not interested in speed. I am interested in quality of learning. That's what I'm interested in. I want you to know. I want you to understand. And if you get there faster, I can promise you, if your goal is getting there faster, then you will not understand properly. Okay? So, forget about how long it takes. Put it this way. Gamar, are you ever finished learning English? Can you ever be finished learning English? So if you can't be finished, think about it like this. If you're running a race, you're running a marathon, right? But there's no end to this marathon. So then does it matter if you run faster? If you can't get to the end, does it matter if you run faster If there is no end, then it's not about running faster, right? It's about doing it better. Okay? So this is not a race to get to the top of the mountain. This is an act of trying to know the mountain, to know it well. Okay? All right, next question. What does give it a shot mean? Give it a shot means try. Shoot, like shooting. Like, hey, do you want to try shooting this target? Here's my gun. You try shooting. Give it a shot. So give it a shot means try. Okay? Take a shot, give it a shot. Okay? You want to ask how you can get out of shame because I want to open my voice to get out of shame to learn English fluently. Seema, so you mean shyness, I think is what you're saying. You're shy when you speak. That's very common, especially for girls, and especially in many different countries. Culturally, there are many places where girls tend to be shyer, and a lot of that is cultural. But it's important to know that because recognizing your culture is good, but you also should recognize when maybe sometimes your culture might get in the way of your learning. So, for example, as an American, Americans tend to be a little bit vocal, meaning like we're not afraid to say what we think, right? And sometimes that's useful, but sometimes it's not useful. Right? So I have had to learn as an American that there are some times when I'm in a classroom and it's not an American classroom, and now maybe I need to readjust my cultural behavior to fit the classroom more smoothly, to fit in more with the learning environment. Right? So that means that I need to tone down my need to say what I think all the time, right? I should listen more and talk less, right? So maybe you need to do the opposite. You need to think about, okay, well, not the opposite. You need to do the same thing. You need to think about your cultural things that are holding you back in a learning environment, right? Maybe those cultural things have value some places, but not every place. And a classroom is one of them where shyness does not benefit you. In a classroom, shyness is a problem. It's holding you back. Why are you letting it? It's your shyness. Nobody else is making you be that way. You choose to be that way. When you don't raise your hand, you chose to not raise your hand because you were afraid. And Seema, do you know who Rumi is? Have you ever heard of the poet Rumi? Seema? The Persian poet Rumi? Rumi. He's a Persian poet. Rumi. He's a very famous poet, and no, listen. There's a guy named Rumi, Rumi. That's his name. Okay? He's a very famous Persian poet from a long time ago. Okay? From Iran area, the Iranian area. Okay? Yeah, that's him, Jalal al-Din Rumi. Right. Or sometimes they call him Molana. So he has a quote that I love. He says, all of your anxiety comes from seeking harmony. Seek disharmony and you will find peace. That quote is brilliant. So let's talk about it. All of your anxiety comes from seeking harmony. Seek disharmony and you will find peace. So what that means is right now You're afraid to raise your hand because you're seeking harmony. You don't want to be nervous. You don't want to be afraid. You don't want to get in front of them and be afraid. So you're seeking harmony. So you don't raise your hand. Okay? But all of your anxiety comes from seeking harmony. But what about this? If you see a tunnel, a mountain has a tunnel, and you have to go through that tunnel. The first time you see a tunnel in a mountain, it's very scary. Because you're like, ooh, wow, it's dark. It's a hole in this big, huge mountain. Is that safe? Right? It's dark. It's scary, right? But then you start going through the tunnel. And yeah, it's dark. Wow, this is scary. It's very dark and scary. But there's a light way down there. And if you keep going through it, then you get to the other side. And once you go through to the other side, then you see that was just a tunnel. It's okay. Right? It's all right. I can do that. I did it. Right? So all of your anxiety comes from seeking harmony. Oh, I don't want to be afraid, so I'm not going to go in the tunnel. I don't want to be afraid. But if you seek disharmony, you will find peace. So for example, riding a bicycle. Can you ride a bicycle, Seema? So when you ride a bicycle now, are you comfortable? But were you comfortable in the beginning when you first rode a bicycle? Right, the first time you were nervous, you were shy, you were scared. But what did you do? You keep getting on the bike. That's called seeking disharmony. That's called seeking disharmony because the bike is scary, but if you do it more, then your anxiety goes away. Okay? Just like if you're scared talking in front of people, then you need to talk in front of people more, not less. Okay, the more you do it, the more comfortable it becomes. So, then what is the answer, Seema? For you, if you don't want to be shy anymore, then don't be shy anymore. Don't seek harmony. Seek disharmony. Try to be uncomfortable. Because if you be uncomfortable enough, then you'll be comfortable. Okay? If you're uncomfortable long enough, it becomes comfortable. Okay? All right. Sani, how can I improve my English speaking? Well, I don't know, Sani, because I don't know what your problem with speaking is. But if you come here, it sounds like you're new. So if you're new, you're in the right place. I'm a teacher. This is a classroom. I'm here pretty much 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and I answer questions, right? So if you come here, 90,000 people follow me. That's 90,000 people who ask me questions about English. And this is my job. So this is what I do. So you will learn a lot here if you just come and listen. Okay? Am I from Scotland? No, I am not from Scotland. Why would you think I am from Scotland? Hello, Valerie. How are you? I noticed that I started to understand better, which makes me happy, but it's still difficult to speak. So sure, that's the way language works. When you're a baby, first you listen to every sound around you, and eventually you start hearing sounds that are familiar. So you say those words, mama, papa, right? You start saying things like want or hungry or whatever. No, yes, simple things like that, right? You start listening and then repeating. So listening is always the first part of understanding. That's good. Keep listening, and then I want you to try to speak. But before you speak, you can try to think. So first you listen, and then try to think of what you might do, right? Think of what you might say. And then if you think of what you say, then when you need to speak, you'll be ready. Okay? When you make mistakes, some people laugh. Yes, Seema, that is life. So, Seema, you must make a choice. Do you care more about what other people think about you, or do you care more about your learning? Do you care more about what they think about you, or do you care more about your learning? Don't let them make you care more about that. No. You should care about what you need to do to learn. And, Seema, when you walk down a street, there will always be some dogs that bark at you. When you walk down the street, there will always be some dogs that bark at you. But don't stop and be scared for every dog. Don't stop and pay attention to every dog that barks at you. Do you understand my point? Okay? Just because they're laughing doesn't mean you have to stop and care. Don't care. Just keep going. Okay? How do native speakers usually feel about non-native speakers? Ibrahim, that's kind of hard to answer. Do we perceive a difference? I think that depends on the person. There are some natives who are very familiar with meeting people from around the world and other cultures, right? Like me. I meet people from around the world all the time. So when I meet people from around the world, it's very comfortable for me. I don't care, so you're learning. I'm a teacher. I meet people from around the world that are learning English. So they're all fine to me. There are only two kinds of people, the good ones and the other ones. So I only care if you're good. Are you a good person? Then we're fine, But Ibrahim, there are some people who are not very familiar with meeting people from around the world. They're not familiar with meeting non-native speakers of English. So those people, sometimes, Ibrahim, in America, if you come here, if you meet me, and if you can't speak English, you'll be fine. Don't worry. I'll help you. Okay? But there will be a few people that you meet here who maybe they don't know anybody from another country. They've never met somebody from another country. So when you speak to them, if your English is not clear, maybe they will feel like, oh, I don't understand you. And if I don't understand you, then maybe I get mad because I don't understand you. And I'm not going to be mad at me. I'm going to be mad at you. So they won't understand, and then they'll be mad. And who are they going to be mad at? They'll be mad at you because they don't understand you, right? So that's true everywhere, okay? If I go to your country, if I meet, there will be some people who don't speak English, And if I try to speak English to them, and if I can't speak Arabic, or if I can't speak Chinese, or if I can't speak Japanese, or French, or German, they will be mad at me. That's true everywhere. All right? So it depends on it really depends on the person and how familiar they are with international people, right? Are you familiar with people from around the world or not? You know? Ooh, I like that. The general is on his way. Don't chase the rabbit. That's a good one. Is that a Chinese idiom? I like that. Because there's a difference between accent and dialect. Well, yeah, there's definitely a difference between accent and dialect, but that's not usually the problem with non-native speakers speaking to natives. It's usually just basic vocabulary and grammar and pronunciation on a basic level. Why do I look like your uncle? I don't know. He's a handsome dude. Why does your uncle look like me? That's the question. What do I think about shadowing? Shadowing is great, Ismail. I wrote an article about it. Let me give you my article, and I'll tell you about it. One moment. Where is my article about shadowing? There it is. This is my article about shadowing. You can copy that link and paste it into your browser, and you should be able to open it after you subscribe to my blog. It's free. Shadowing is great if you shadow someone great. That's the key to shadowing. Shadowing is just learning from somebody. You're just saying, this guy's great, this girl is great. I want to learn from them. I want to study them. Why are they so good? Is it their vocabulary? Is it their pronunciation? Is it their grammar? Is it their energy? Is it their body language? What is it that makes them great? That is shadowing. But the problem is, sometimes you're choosing the wrong person to shadow. You're not choosing someone great. You're choosing someone meh. You guys know meh? M-E-H. Meh means not good. Not so great. All right? So choose someone who's great. Don't just choose somebody who's okay, and don't choose the cool guy. That's the bigger mistake. Too many people, you go on YouTube and you find some guy who's so cool. Hey man, and hey dude, and what's up guys, and he's got great riz and skibbity-roo and blah blah. It's so cool, right? No. No. Don't choose the guy who's cool. Choose the guy who speaks well. This is not about being cool. All right? You can figure out how to be cool another time. This is about learning how to speak well. So, you should find people who speak well and shadow them. That is the secret. Okay? Right up your alley, Carlos. It means this is perfect for you. This is something that you will like. This is something that I think you'll enjoy. This is something that I know you will like, right? So if I say this is right up your alley, an alley is a street. And it's like saying this is the street for you. Everything in this street is perfect for you. You'll like this street. Okay? But no matter how fluent you get, there's always a missing piece, the local accent. Okay, so if that's what you mean, Ibrahim, I don't care about your accent, man. Most people don't, I think. Your accent is only a problem if your accent is so bad that I cannot understand you. Then I'll be mad at you, and then I'll be mad at your accent. But if your accent is clear, then there is no problem. You can speak English perfectly clearly with an Arabic accent, a Chinese accent, a Japanese accent, a French accent, a German accent, a Portuguese accent. I don't care what accent you have. I only care if it's clear. All right? You do not have to sound like me. You do have to sound clear. All right? I do teach privately, yes. If you want to buy lessons from me, then you can go to my website and buy lessons from me. Otherwise, people come here and study. Okay? Do I have any recommendations for people to shadow, Ismail? I usually tell people TED Talks. Most of the people on TED Talks are great speakers. So that's a great place. Okay? The website link, sure. I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'll do better than that. One moment. Where is my page? There it is. If you are new, please get this. This file right here is everything you need to know about me is in this file. My schedule is in this file. My background is in this file. My YouTube, my website, my blog is in this file. I gave 4 free articles in this file that are great articles about language for you, okay? And then also my classroom rules are in that file. So please just copy that link and paste it to your browser and open it and read it. Read the whole file. It's just a couple pages, and then you'll know everything you need to know about me. All right? I have been on Hello Talk for more than 12 years. I have been live streaming for about 5 years. I have done 1,300 live streams, and about 90,000 people follow me. Okay? So everything you need to know if you are new is in that file. So please just get the file. That's right. Accent is fine. So Michael, when I speak Chinese, I have an American accent when I speak Chinese. I know. I don't really care. As long as you understand my Chinese, that's all I care about. I don't care if I sound like I'm from America. I only care if you understand. That's it. I'm not trying to pretend like I was born in Beijing. Okay? My goal is not to be a spy. My goal is to make friends. That's right, unless you want to be a spy. That's right. And 3Mar, again, in that link, in the file, there is one article about the best ways to learn vocabulary. Okay? In that article, there is, or in that link, there is an article about vocabulary. Okay? That link is my PDF file about me, about here, about my classes, about what we do here. If you are new, get the file. Okay? If you are new, get the file. Everybody in my room has the file. Get the file. Okay? I made a file because many people ask me the same questions again and again and again and again and again. So I made a file because I'm tired of answering those questions. Okay? And Surya, you have to copy it and paste it. Copy and paste. Then it will open. Copy it and paste it into your browser. Okay? It's not a virus or something like that. It's just a PDF file. Look, it's right here. I'll show it to you. This is what it is. Hello, new friend. Welcome to my English online classroom. I'm Teacher Mark, an American TEFL certified English teacher with 17 years experience teaching English. Okay? This is the file right here. Okay? And look, there are 4 articles here for you, and then here are my rules, my classroom rules and everything, right? So this is it. Get the file. Take it with a grain of salt. So this idiom, one moment. So this comes from Latin. This phrase, take it with a grain of salt, is very old. And in Latin, a long time ago, the Roman Empire, they used to say cum grano salis. Cum grano salis, which means a pinch of salt. With a little salt. That's what it means. And it was talking about... Well, it's kind of funny. It's actually a joke. Let's see. He's describing an antidote for poison. Wait a minute, let me read. Right. Okay, so originally... Take it with a grain of salt was talking about when they would make recipes for medicine a long time ago. Pliny the Elder, he wrote a book called Naturalis Historia, and he had a recipe that had walnuts, figs, and rue, but you have to take them adito salis grano, which means after having added a grain of salt. So the original meaning was talking about adding a little salt to the recipes for medicines, right? But then later, the meaning grew. And it wasn't just about a little salt. It was like the word salt became talking about a little bit of wisdom. A little bit of wisdom, right? So when we say take that with a grain of salt, what we're saying is, I'm going to tell you some information, but you should think about it with a little bit of wisdom, because maybe it's not entirely true. Maybe it's not entirely true. So think about it with a little bit of wisdom. Take it with a grain of salt. Means use a little bit of wisdom in what I'm about to tell you. Okay? Does that make sense? Right? So it means I'm going to tell you something like maybe my friend Bob said that this new guy Jack is a bad guy. Right? So my friend Bob said Jack is a bad guy. But then later I find out that Jack is dating the girl that Bob likes. Jack is dating the girl that Bob likes. So when Bob says he's a bad guy, maybe he's not a bad guy. Maybe it's just he's mad because that guy's dating his girl. Right? So take it with a grain of salt. When he says he's a bad guy, you should think about that with a little bit of wisdom, because you know he's just mad because the guy has his girl, right? So take it with a grain of salt means he said he's not a good guy, but he's mad. He's angry because he's got the girl. So use a little wisdom. Okay? Yeah, like be careful, because maybe you shouldn't believe it completely, or you should consider the source. You should consider the source. Who's saying it and why are they saying it? Okay? And David, thank you very much for helping answer questions. If anybody ever helps me answer questions, I really do appreciate that. I do, because it's hard for me to answer those questions all the time, when new people come. So, David, I do truly appreciate that. Anybody who's here, if you're a regular, if you know the answers to these questions when people are asking about who am I and what's my schedule and all these kinds of things, if you know the answer, go ahead. Please tell them. Okay? Thank you very much for that. Okay, Nario says, I just encountered the English idiom Indian summer. Yeah, Indian summer means that the summer is going longer. Like, usually here where I live, we have summer in June, July, and August, and maybe some of September is also very hot. But usually we think of September, October, November, that's when fall is happening, right? And so it should be getting cooler. But sometimes September is very hot all the way into the beginning of October, right? And so that's what we'll call an Indian summer. It's like a late summer that's like still warm when it should be cooling, okay? Why is it called an Indian summer? Because a long time ago in America, the natives here, if that happened, when there was a late summer, they considered that a blessing because it gave them more time to grow and harvest crops. So they called it an Indian summer because the Indians already kind of had a theory about this, and they already thought it was a good thing, right? So they just recognized this as like, look, the Indians say this is great when an Indian summer happens because you have more time to harvest your vegetables, right? Let's see. Think about it all over again. There's a grain of truth. Right. Yeah, that's the idea. Let's see. Can I explain jostle? Yeah, and let me check on something. Right, that's right. I remember now. So the original word jostle, it comes from the word joust. Do you know what jousting is, Carlos? To joust, Joust. Yeah, jousting was a kind of fighting on horse, right? So two guys will get on horses, and they have these big, long spears that they hold under their arm while they're riding. That's called jousting, right? And they try to hit each other with the spear. That's called jousting, okay? It's called a lance. It's not a spear, but it's like a spear. Okay? So in jousting, to joust what jousting was about trying to hit the person off their horse. You're trying to knock them off their horse. So the word jostle comes from the word joust, meaning to knock somebody off their horse. So if something gets jostled, it got shaken or moved violently. Like, for example, maybe you're carrying some. Oh, I know. If you go to the grocery store, and you buy a bunch of groceries and you put them in the back of your car, but then maybe you're driving home and a dog runs in front of your car, so you slam on the brakes, and now all the food was jostled. It was jostled back and forth, or it was jostled around. It means it was knocked against something. Okay? Right. That's right. But then the word jostle later took on another meaning. A verb. To jostle for position is like when you're in a race and there's the first, he's in first place, and then he's in first place, and then he's in first place. They're jostling for position. They're jostling for position. Okay? Why does the U.S. have so many immigrants? Because the U.S. was created by immigrants. The United States was started as a British colony, right? We had the original 13 colonies, and we began as a British colony. But then we rebelled against the British, and we became our own place, okay? And at that time, between, let's say, the 1500s and the 1700s. In that time, there were many, many problems in Europe. There were many, many, many problems in Europe. There are lots of things like, no work, and people were poor, and people were hungry, and people had famine, right? And so America is this new place. It's a new place where you have maybe new opportunities, and there's a lot of room. It was a huge country, and it was unexplored, they said, right? People lived there, the natives lived there, but the white people said, wow, this is new, so let's just explore it, right? And make it ours, right? So it became a place where people came from all over the world because it was new. It was called the New World. They called it the New World. And so lots of people said, hey, life where I live is not very great. Life sucks here. So maybe I'm going to try going over there and see if I can do something better. That's why. Okay, so my grandfather came here because he was poor. And he couldn't have good opportunities in his country, in Slovakia, in Eastern Europe at that time. So he left and came to America to find work and to find more opportunities. And that's the reason why most people have come here. Okay? It's a land of immigrants, no matter what some people say. Is etymology my favorite topic to talk about? I certainly do like it. It's one of my hobbies. I do love it. Yeah. No, my hometown is not Iowa. My hometown, that's not a town. That's a state. I live in Ohio. Ohio. Okay. Iowa is pretty far away from me. It used to be considered a kind of blessing, has evolved into a meaning for complaints about the hot weather. Yeah, somewhat. Yeah. Some people will complain about, oh yeah, we're having an Indian summer, it's hot. Yeah, but to me, I would rather have an Indian summer. I kind of like Indian summer. It means it's warmer for a longer period of time. I'm okay with that. Most people like the warm weather more. Yeah. All right, let's see. One moment. What's the meaning of Hobson's choice? Oh, this is one I really like. Hobson's choice. It's not a very common idiom, but it's a cool story. The idiom has a great story behind it. So I think it's an idiom that more people should use. Hobson's choice means basically take it or leave it. This is what I have. That's what you can have. Nothing else is available. Okay? And this comes from a story about a guy named Thomas Hobson. Thomas Hobson was he was a stable owner. He owned horses. And he rented horses. Okay, so you could pay him money for a horse, right? For the day, right? And he had like a bunch of horses, but he had a rule. His rule was that you could only rent the horse that was closest to the door. He had a line, right? And he would rotate them so that they got equal amounts of work, right? He didn't want the horses to be overworked. Maybe you say, oh, that white horse is so pretty. I'm going to take the white horse. Well, everybody will take the white horse. It's so pretty. So he has a rule. He says, no, sorry. The only one you can take is the one that's by the door. That's the only one. It's Hobson's choice. So Hobson's choice in English, it means when somebody presents you with something where there is no other choice, it's just this, right? You don't have another choice. There's just this. Take it or leave it. Okay? Thank you for reading my file, Surya. Yeah, coffee became one of the ways that America culturally separated themselves from the British. Besides our language, we also separated ourselves in many other ways. Musically, fashion, what we eat and drink. Okay, it's not common to have tea time in America, right? We don't do that. We have coffee. Can you explain the meaning of I got beat? Is that the same as I got beaten? I got beat means I was defeated, or it means I was beaten by someone. But it's colloquial, which means that the grammar is not right, but it's not uncommon. Okay? It's not uncommon for somebody to say, oh, yeah, I got beat. He beat me. I got beat. Okay, so he beat me means he won, right? He was the winner, I was the loser. So, I got beat, okay? Todd is from Iowa. I didn't know that. How did I learn Chinese? Zichishe. I taught myself mostly. What do you don't say and tell me about it mean in daily conversation? You don't say means like, Jendama is more like, oh, really? Like, wow, that's interesting. Like maybe it's something like, that's interesting, or really? Wow. Okay. And tell me about it could be, I agree. So if somebody says, this teacher is so hard, I have too much homework every night. And you say, oh, tell me about it. That means, yeah, I agree. I think the same. Okay? Is it the same as last chance? Wait a minute. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Oh, if you're talking about Hobson's choice, no. Hobson's choice just means that you don't have another choice, that you only have one option. They gave you one option. There is no other option. Okay? So if you're going to rent a car and they only have one car, that's Hobson's choice. Okay? If you go to rent a car and they only have one car, you only have one car to choose from. That's Hobson's choice. Okay? Gotten, are they the same? No. That's why I said, in that case, the grammar is not right. Okay? So sometimes when you guys are listening to people, that's why I'm saying you should follow people who speak well, because some people will use colloquial speaking. Colloquial speaking means maybe they say things that are not grammatically correct, but that are acceptable. Like, I got beat. I got beat is not correctly, it's not correct grammar, but it's common for people to say it that way. All right? And that happens a lot. But that's why you should listen to somebody who speaks well most of the time. You should focus on people who care about their language, because that kind of language, that will happen later and it'll be easy. But if you try to learn it too soon, you're just going to confuse yourself, because you won't know what to say when. You won't understand the rules. Okay? So learn from somebody who follows the rules. Don't learn from somebody who uses colloquial language when you are not ready for colloquial language. You have to learn proper basic language, rudimental, fundamental language before you learn colloquial language. Is summer saving time a smart thing? Why don't we have it here? No, we hate it here. I hate it. Daylight savings time, I hate it. Almost everybody I know hates it. Why don't we change it? We talk about changing it every year. Every year we say we're going to get rid of it because we don't know why we do it anymore. It's stupid. It's really, really stupid. And honestly, I think the only reason why they don't do it is because because they have to spend money to switch. That's the only reason why they don't. Everything costs money, even switching ideas. Language is so captivating that I'm tempted to create my personal linguistic dictionary. Okay, well, that's fine. And that is how you should look at language. Language is like Legos. If you learn it, you can build it. So Paggy says, wow, I always thought that tell me about it means I'm curious about the problem. It can. Sometimes, if you say, oh, I feel really sad today, my boyfriend broke up with me, and then I say, oh, tell me about it. Then I'm saying, yes, please tell me more about your problem. I'm here to listen. That's one way to use it. But another way to use it is when someone says, man, this teacher is so hard. I have so much homework every day. And then you say, yeah, tell me about it. It means like, yeah, I'm with you. I also have a lot of homework every day, and this teacher is too hard. Okay? So tell me about it. Yo lianga isu. Okay? What's the meaning of to curry favor? To curry favor with someone means to try to become, to get them to like you. That's what it means. And this one, so this one's funny because when we say to curry favor, everybody thinks that the word curry must be talking about the food curry. It's not. It sounds like the word, but it's not related. The word curry is... it comes from the 1400s. It was originally currying favelle. Estriller favelle. So Fauvel was there was a French poem. A long time ago, there was a French poem called Roman de Fauvel. And it's a story about a guy who... Oh, no, he's a horse. It's a horse. It's a horse who gets to a high position in the court by luck. So he's lucky. This horse is very lucky, and he gets to the high position. Oh, that's interesting. Look at that. Okay, so the name Fauvel is Fauvel, and it's spelled, the name means flattery, avarice, villainy, fickleness, and envy. Oh, and cowardice. Wow, this is a really hard one to explain. So the word currying favor, it means to try to get someone to like you. And this comes from the story about these horses. And to get the horse to like you, you would brush it. And by brushing the horse, now the horse likes you. So now you have curried favor with the horse. Okay, so in this case, currying favor comes from this story about a horse. It's a poem about a horse and about the ways that you can get someone to like you, both honestly and dishonestly. Okay? I remember that I encountered the phrase I got a bearing on when I watched a YouTube video. I asked ChatGPT about it and told me bearing means... bearing is talking about direction. Bearing is it's a term that comes from boats. Boats. A long time ago, when you would steer your boat, you would steer your ship, they would say bear to the left, bear to the right, which meant turn in that direction. Let me check something. Yeah, right. So to measure your bearing means to measure your angle and direction. Right? So your direction is forward and your angle is 10 degrees to the west. Or so they would say bear 10 degrees west. And then you're going straight. So that's your bearings, right? To get your bearings. So now when we say getting my bearings now, it means trying to figure out where I am and what I'm doing. Okay? Like maybe if I move to a new country, then I'll say, well, it's going to take me a few weeks or a few months to get my bearings. Means to understand where I am and how to live here, right? To become familiar and comfortable, to know where I'm going. Okay? It can cause fossilization when we learn from the wrong person. That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. When a native English speaker from the U.S. travels to another English-speaking country such as Canada, do you feel like you've actually traveled abroad? Yeah. I mean, Canada, they speak English, sure, but it's still different. You know, it's not vastly different, but it is different. Okay, so traveling within English-speaking countries is easier because you know the language, but that doesn't mean that there are not cultural differences. Okay? Can I understand the Scottish accent? Mostly, yes. But there are some people who have a very, very thick Scottish accent that even it's difficult for me. Let's see. Right. The tone of the speaking changed, right? So if I say, oh, you're having a problem, do you want to tell me about it? That's one way of saying it, right? But that's saying, yes, please tell me about your problems. I'm here to listen. But if somebody says, this is really hard, and you say, yeah, tell me about it, that's a different tone. You're saying, yeah, I agree. Okay? You're a horse riding trainer. Oh, well, that's interesting. The word curry, in this case, it's a very old word that means to try to get someone to like you. To curry favor means to get someone to like you. Barking up the wrong tree. It comes from hunting. This is a story from hunting. When you go hunting, you have dogs, right? And sometimes, right? And the dogs will chase the animal. So let's say they're chasing a squirrel. Maybe they're chasing a squirrel, and the squirrel runs up one tree, and so the dogs are at the bottom of that tree, and they're barking at that tree, right? They're barking up here. But then the squirrel, he's smart. When he gets up to that tree, he jumps over to another tree. So the dogs are still barking up here at this tree, but the squirrel has left. He's over here now. So when you say you're barking up the wrong tree, it means that you're yelling at the wrong person. You're telling the wrong person. You're yelling at the wrong person. You're angry at the wrong person. Okay? They're barking up the wrong tree. Okay? Is the phrase, what's wrong with you, very rude? It depends on the tone. If I say, what's wrong with you? I'm not happy. Okay? That means I'm deliberately trying to be rude. Because I don't like you, or I don't like what you're doing. You know, if you did something that I really don't like, then yeah, I'll look at you and say, what's wrong with you? Because I think that you're rude. So I'll say something rude to you. Okay? But if I ask the same question with a different tone, then maybe it's not rude. If I said, if I see a student, maybe my student looks sick, and I walk up to them and say, you know, hey, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? In that case, I genuinely want to know if they are okay. Right? So it's all about tone. John Wenli, Chinese is a tonal language, right? And each tone can change the meaning of each character. But in English, it's also a tonal language. English is an emotionally tonal language. The emotions are tonal. So if I say the word dude, right? Dude is a great word because I can walk into a room and say one word and it has many different meanings depending on my tone. So if I walk into the room and I say, dude, that means, wow, I'm surprised to see you. It's so nice to see you. If I walk into the room and I say, dude, that means, what is this? What did you do? Did you make a mess? What happened here? Right? If I walk into the room and I say, dude, that means like, wow, this is great. Right? So all I did was change the tone and it changed the meaning. Right? Okay? Just like if I said, this is my book. That means, yeah, that's my book. But if I said, this is my book? This is my book? Is that the same meaning? Right? So English is emotionally tonal. A majority of Singaporean Chinese can still speak Chinese. If I go there, I'll definitely... Right. That's right. Yeah. Exactly. Right. Yeah, I mean, it won't be crazy different if you go to Singapore. Most everything will feel like, oh, this is easy, right? Like I don't struggle here. I can speak enough. I know the language and the food is pretty much similar. It's not too different, right? So, but at the same time, there will be some things that are different and new, right? Yeah. Hello, Carolina. How are you? Hello, Normal. Is this a swear word? Is what a swear word? Which one, Paggy? You mean barking up the wrong tree? No. Barking up the wrong tree means等一下，我想一想。这是为什么你告诉我？为什么你生气？你需要告诉他，不是我，这是他。听得懂吗？ Right? Yeah, you're saying the wrong person. Right? Don't tell me, tell him. Okay? All right? You're angry at me, but I didn't do it. You're yelling at me. I didn't do it. No. Tell him. Okay? Yeah, that's the best I could do to explain it in Chinese. Why does the U.S. have so many different time zones? We don't. We have three. We have three time zones. That's not that many. We have the Eastern time zone, we have the Mid-Central time zone, and we have the Western time zone. It's 3 hours. It's not that big a deal. So I live in Ohio, but my time zone is the same as New York. It's Eastern Standard Time. But if I drive about an hour west, then I'll go into the Central Time Zone, and then that's 1 hour behind. Okay, 1 hour earlier. Do I like time zones? I don't dislike them. They are part of how we function in this world. You have to have time zones. That's just the way time works in a sphere. You have to have time zones on a sphere. Should I bother learning African American English, or is it fine just to stick with standard English if I go to the US? Why would you need to learn African American English? Why would you think you need to? We have four if you include Alaska, but nobody talks about Alaska because almost nobody lives up in Alaska. Alaska is a huge state that's not connected to the continental United States, right? So we have 50 states, but Alaska is way up north above and west of Canada, right? And yeah, there's a time zone for that too, but in the continental United States, there are 3 time zones. So in the continental United States, that's all we deal with. Nobody's going to Alaska. It's very far away to go to Alaska. So if you live up there, great. But how many people live in Alaska? Let's see. Population of Alaska. How many people do you think live in Alaska? How many people? Take a guess. It's funny. It's even less than I thought. Anyone? 1 million? Less than 1 million. It's about 738,000. 738,000 people live there. But I want you to understand that Alaska, the state of Alaska, is about half the size of the United States, the continental United States. So that one state is huge. That one state is really, really big. So we have 330 million people in this country, and most of them live in the 50 continental United States. There are some people who live in Hawaii, but Hawaii is a tiny little island. This is not very big. Okay, let's look at the population of Hawaii. That'll be funny. The population of Hawaii is 1.4 million. So there are 1.4 million people living on these tiny little islands. But Alaska is enormous. It's huge. But there are 738,000 people living up there. So, it's like less than 1% of the country. Less than 1% of the country lives up there. So we don't talk about the 4th time zone. We only talk about the 3. Eastern, Central, and Western. That's it. Let's see. Pacific Mountain, I mean. Yeah. Pacific time zone. That's what I meant to say. I said Western, but I meant Pacific. Yes. Aren't there famous casino cities in Alaska? No. 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 We have really only one very famous city for gambling. That's Las Vegas. Maybe you could say Reno, and maybe you could say Jersey. Yeah. But other than that, mostly when we talk about gambling in America, we're talking about Las Vegas. Okay? But no, there's no famous casinos up in Alaska that I know about. When I watch English movies, I hear a lot of slang and what sounds like bad grammar, and I think it might be that part of kind of... Okay, so Sergey, yes, that's true. If you're watching American movies, and if those movies have African Americans in them, then they love to make it look like that's how all black people speak all the time. So that means that you can't understand them unless you talk like that. So that's why you think you need to talk like that. But no, man. No. Remember, Sergey, when you watch movies, movies are not for education. They're not for learning. They're for entertainment. So they are trying to use language that's entertaining language. It's entertaining. If everybody in the movie speaks like me, then it's a boring movie because it's perfect grammar and it's perfect pronunciation and it's boring. So the characters will all have different ways of speaking. Some of them will speak more with an urban type of language. Some of them will speak more with a rural language. Some of them will speak more with an academic language or a business language. So what I would say is, no, you don't need to learn that kind of English just because you heard that in the movies. Okay? Yes, there will be some people who speak like that, and maybe they will be a little harder for you to understand. But no, you don't need to go out of your way to try to learn that style of speaking. Okay? In my opinion. You forgot my link. What link are you talking about? I guess my link to my file. This is my link to my file. Wow, am I wrong? Wait a minute. Let me check something. That's Alaska. That's Hawaii. Territorial 3. Okay, no, yeah. Wait a minute. I may be wrong, and I'll have to say I'm wrong. That's why. Okay, yeah. You're right, and I'm right. Okay, so there are 4 time zones, and I only think about the 3 because it's only 3 hours different, right? So for me, where I live in the Eastern time zone, right? So for me, all of America is within 3 hours of change. Okay, all of the contiguous 48 states, the central part of the United States. Okay, so for most Americans, we have 4 time zones, but it's only 3 hours of difference. Okay, so yes, it's Eastern, Central, Mountain, and Pacific, right? But if you drive from here to California, it's only 3 hours of change. Okay. What about Chicago? Chicago is not a casino city. It's a great city. I love Chicago. It's one of my favorite cities, but it's not a gambling city. What type of English do I speak? So the United States has about 30 different accents. 30. Okay? And I have one of three in my state. My state, Ohio, has three accents: the Northern Ohio accent, the Central Ohio accent, and the Southern Ohio accent. Mine is close to the Central Ohio accent. It's called the Mid-Ohio accent. And it's the closest to the IPA pronunciation. Okay? Do I need a green card visa to go there? You mean me? No. If I want to go to anywhere in the United States, if I want to go to Alaska, I can go to Alaska. If I want to go to Hawaii, I can go to Hawaii. You don't need anything extra. At least not yet. China only has one time zone. But wait a minute, let me check. Yeah. So guess what? China was wide enough, or is wide enough, that it could have 5 time zones. And it did. But the government in 1949, the government changed the time zones in China to be all one time zone. So they just changed it. Understand? There used to be more time zones. Okay? John Wen Lee, is it asking too much to want an American boy in Chicago to earn $120,000 a year? Are you talking about your boyfriend or husband? Is it asking too much? I don't know what that means. All I can tell you is if that's what you're looking for, you can find it, but you won't find it and be happy. Because if you're looking for just some guy who makes money and some guy who lives in that city, then good luck. Good luck having a good life. Because you're not going to have a good life. You just found somebody who has money and the place you want to live. That's not a relationship. It's not a relationship. So yes, it's asking too much. Show you the 3 different accents. The different accents between Ohio, they're not that different. So for example, Central Ohio, Southern Ohio accent does get a little bit more Southern, like with a little bit more what we call twang in it. So for example, certain words, like the word wash, I say wash your hands, but there are some people here who have a weird way of pronouncing it. They put like an R in the word, so it sounds more like wash your hands, wash your hands, right? That's kind of the Southern Ohio thing, right? And for people in Cleveland, oh, I need to eat food. My stomach is grumbling. So in Northern Ohio, for one thing, they say the word pop instead of soda. Like we'll say soda down here, but they'll say pop for Coke, right? If you want to get a Coke, then they'll say, do you want a pop? That's a word that they use. It's different. They tend to make their A sound a little bit more different. Like the Like if I say garage, then they might say garage, it's more of an ah sound. Like when we say apple, they might say more like apple, yeah. So it's just a slight difference. Oh, if you go to Alaska, no. I mean, it's the same as coming to anywhere in the United States. If you can come to the United States, then you can go to any one of those places. Okay? Have I been to all the states in America? No. I have been to 40, I think 42 of the 50. I think there's only just a few that I haven't been to. Hawaii and Washington and Oregon, Montana. I can't remember if I went to North Dakota. I did go to South Dakota, but I don't remember if we went through North Dakota also. But just a handful, maybe 5 or 6 that I haven't been to. Do Americans eat animal hooves? Mostly no. Probably some. A guy from Chicago told me he hates it when a girl demands that he earns a lot of money. I asked him how much money those girls demand. He said 120. Well, it sounds like... I don't know. All I know is this. I don't know what you're talking about. Let's just move on. I don't know. I don't know what this is about. I don't understand what this is about. I don't know. Okay? Like, if you want to date somebody because they are a good person. Do not date somebody because they make a lot of money. Do not date somebody because of where they're from. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about the matter. Okay? If you're talking about how much money they make, you're talking about the wrong things. You're guaranteed to fail. Guaranteed to fail. Okay? And I don't want to talk about it anymore. Okay? When you learn English, what kind of accent do I have to study? What is standard? You can learn mine. This is the easiest one for America. Okay? How to pronounce conscience and conscious. Conscience, conscious. Conscience, conscious. Okay? All right. Well, I don't know. I don't know. But you have to have a lot of money in America because America's just stupidly expensive. The rich people have ruined this country. Which state do people stand out the most from the rest? Like in culture, the way they talk, pretty much everything. Oh, that's an interesting question. I think I'll say Louisiana. Louisiana is a very interesting state that has a very interesting history with a very interesting mix of cultures that has created a very unique culture. They have their own accent, they have their own languages, they have their own food, they have their own music. Yeah, I think I'd probably say Louisiana, New Orleans, Louisiana, Southern culture. Okay? Yes, my accent is American. You know what? Here's what I'm going to say about Here's what I'm going to say about men and money and that being important. All of the girls that went to Epstein Island, every girl that went to Epstein Island went there because those guys are rich. Oh, so it must be okay because they're rich, right? Every one of those girls, they thought, oh, this must be okay because they have money, so they must be good guys, right? They must be good people because they have money, right? That's why they went there. That's why they went there, because they thought man with money mean good guy. Good guy. Man, oh, he has money, he must be good man. Well, I guess we're finding out that's not true. Just because you have money does not mean you are a good person. And actually, the chances are, if you have a lot of money, you probably are not a good person. There's a very good chance you're not a good person. So, anyway, is San Diego my favorite place? I like San Diego. I've been there once. It was great. I enjoyed myself while I was there, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite. I think New Orleans might be my favorite. New York, Chicago, and New Orleans are my three favorite cities here. When I speak English with myself, I can speak well, but when it's time to speak with others, I mess everything up. How can I solve it? Jessia, you need to speak with strangers more. Speak with strangers until you don't mess up. Okay? That's it. Keep talking to strangers until you don't mess up anymore. Okay? What about West Virginia? What about it? West Virginia is, yeah. You know what's funny about that song, Country Roads Take Me Home to the Place, right? So that song, it's written by John Denver. When he wrote that song, he had never been to West Virginia. So there's a funny story about West Virginia, and I have been to West Virginia many times. No, it's not my favorite place at all. The people in West Virginia don't even like West Virginia. West Virginia is almost the closest you'll get to a third world country in America. And that's what they say. The people from West Virginia, they say that. They're the ones who say living here is like living in a third world country. That's what they say. So, yeah. Some were cheated there or forced, maybe. Maybe, David, but not the majority. The majority of those girls, they did what girls do. Girls, for hundreds of years or thousands of years, girls have gone to the guy with money. Because the guy with money, that means protection and safety. So, for thousands of years, we have associated money with safety and, with safety and protection. Okay? But money is also for exploitation and manipulation. Money is only a tool. And the majority of people who have a lot of it don't use it for good. They use it for whatever they want. And whatever they want they don't care about whether it's good or bad. It's just what they want. And if they have money, then they think they can get it. So, yeah. So, John Winley, I would say, I don't know about this guy from Chicago. I don't know, but just don't worry about it, okay? Why don't they just merge with another state? Sergey, because it's not that easy. Nothing in America is easy. Guys, this is what the problem with America right now is. See, look, it's kind of simple. Can you imagine if I tried to run a classroom? If I tried to run a classroom like a democracy, okay? If I tried to say, everybody in the class, what should we learn today? Let's find out. What do you think we should learn? What do you think we should learn? What do you think we should learn? Do you think that class is going to work well? So what I mean is, in a classroom, it doesn't work well, right? Because there are certain times when, put it this way, the more people that you have involved in decisions, the harder it is to make decisions. So we love that. We love that we are all making decisions. We're part of the decision process. We do like that, but we recognize that the more people involved, the harder it is to make decisions. The more people involved, the more complicated it becomes. That doesn't mean it's bad, but it does mean it's hard. You know? So when they say, well, maybe they would like to do that, maybe they would like to merge with another state, but it's not easy to do. It's difficult to do because now you have to get everybody to agree. What about that guy who doesn't want to change it from West Virginia to another thing? He doesn't want to be part of Virginia. Now you have to convince him, right? So democracy is hard, okay? It's not like running a business, because running a business, you say, this is what I want, and you do it, right? Government's not like that. Not in a democratic society. In a democratic society, it's difficult because we all have to say what we want, and we have to argue about it, and that takes time. And sometimes it's very, very ineffective, and sometimes it's very messy. But it's still the system we prefer. It's still the system we prefer. Well, Trump is a moron. He's the biggest dummy on the planet. I don't like the expression third world is only one world. I know, Carolina, I don't really like that expression either, because it does get tossed around in very derogatory ways. But in America, that's why they use that word, because we know that word is derogatory. So for an American to say, I feel like my state is a third world country, they're trying to use the derogatory nature of that language to make a point. And you're right, it's not fair to all the other people in countries that are not doing so well. But they're trying to just make a point that we live in the United States, but we feel like we don't have access to things we should. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, so anybody have any other questions they want to actually ask me? Hello, Miguel, over there on my YouTube. How did I learn the drums? I started taking drum lessons at the local music store when I was 11 or 12. And then I studied at the local music store for a few years, and then I went to high school. I went to I went to a special performing arts high school. So in my city, we have one school that's a special school for performing artists. If you're a dancer, you're a singer, you're an actor, you're a musician, you're a painter, any kind of art, it's a special school for artists. And I went there and studied drums there. And then I went to university later and studied jazz in university. And I've been playing drums since I was 12, 11 or 12. Yeah, look, I mean, in terms of things like Trump, guys, look, I'll just say this. I'm just going to say this, okay? I hate the man. I hate the man. I have never hated someone so much in my life as that man. But I don't want to talk about him. I don't want to talk about anything that has to do with him. Why? Because I have to hear about it all day when I live here in this country. Every day it's on TV. Every day it's that bloviating fat bag of air making the world a better place, and I have to hear about it. So I don't want to talk about him when I'm teaching, you know, because he's the opposite of teaching. He's like a walking lesson of what you shouldn't do in life. Everything about him is what you shouldn't do. So, yeah. So I get a little upset when people bring up that because I just don't want to hear about it. I'm so annoyed, you know? I look so emotional. Well, that's because I hate the man. He's scum. He's the worst thing that's ever happened to this country and quite possibly to this world. Again, if it were easy, we would, but it's not. And it's much harder now because all the rich people control everything now. So even if we want to, we can't. So, can we go back to something else? Let's see. Sane says, I can understand when you speak English, but I can't understand when others speak. So, Sane, I hear that a lot. That's because I'm a teacher. It's my job to speak well, or to try to speak well. So, right now, you should focus on finding people like me. Okay? Find people who speak well and listen to them. So this reminds me of when I was younger, when I was a drummer, when I was 16 years old. If I heard a guitarist who was just amazing, like, wow, I hear him and I go, I gotta listen to more of that. Or if I hear a drummer who's so good, like, man, I need to hear more of that guy. He's so good. Please let me hear more of that. That's what you need to do with language. You need to find somebody who, when they speak, you're like, wow, man, I wish I could speak like that. I just want to listen to him or her. Whatever they're saying, I don't care. I just love the way they speak. Find those people. Okay? What's the secret of my energy? The secret is honesty. It's because I do this because I like it. I do this because teaching is the one thing that brings me sanity in this world. The whole world is full of chaos, and the whole world is full of terrible, terrible things that we can't control. But when I teach, I have control for a little bit of a small place. I can bring joy, I can bring enlightenment, I can bring understanding, I can bring peace, So the secret of my energy is that I do this because it makes me feel human. Can I provide the link again? But a link to what, Nirmal? I'm not sure. I have many, many links, so I'm not sure which link you're talking about. If you mean my link to my file, my PDF file, I can give you that. But I don't know what link you mean. Do I think the old way of life was better or new world of technology? I don't think you can ask that question. That's a silly question to ask. Was the world better 100 years ago? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it was. You cannot make time stand still. Time will never stand still. So even if you think this is the best time ever and you think you want to keep it this way, it's not going to stay this way because that's not how time works. Time does not stand still. When you stand in a river, you're never standing in the river the same way. The river is always moving. Time is the same way. So it doesn't matter if you like the river earlier or later because that's not where you are. It doesn't matter whether it was better before or better after. It only matters that you are where you are right now. So you can learn from the past, but you can never keep it. Okay? You can and you should learn from the past, but the past is always the past. It cannot be kept. You cannot make the past the present or the future. Okay? I have not watched the MJ movie. Did I major in TESOL? No. I majored in many things, not English. I majored in music, in history, sociology, and in cooking. I got my TEFL certificate later, much later, in 2009, or 2010. 2010, I got my TEFL certificate. What's the difference between TEFL, TESOL, and CELTA? TEFL and TESOL are pretty much the same for the most part. CELTA is a bit more involved. The CELTA certificate is a little bit more difficult to get, and you have to take a more difficult course and test. Okay, so I think CELTA is a little bit better than TEFL or TESOL. To butter someone up, that means to flatter someone. To flatter someone, to say like, you know, oh, you're so awesome, you're so amazing, I think you're so great. That's buttering someone up. Maybe you want to ask them for a favor, right? So you say, oh, you're so amazing, I can't believe you're so great, I'm so lucky to know you. Hey, do you think you can do me a favor? That's buttering someone up. Okay? We're not afraid to be underestimated or insulted here, and that is peace. So, Samira, when I was saying the word, I bring peace, I was like thinking, well, maybe some people will not agree with that statement. Because sometimes I am very volatile. Sometimes I'm a bit strong. You know, sometimes I'm a bit harsh, even. Because sometimes enlightenment comes with a slap in the face. Sometimes enlightenment comes with a big slap in the face. Okay? Have I ever worked as a DJ in a bar? No, but I have worked as a drummer in a bar. Andy, that's my job. For about 20 years, I played music in bars, playing drums. What's my greatest accomplishment? I think my greatest accomplishment is what I'm doing right here. That I get to help people from all over the world. That people in every country in the world know who I am. That's weird to me. That's funny. That's crazy to me. The fact that I get to help people from every corner of the world, that's crazy to me. The fact that I could travel anywhere and people know me somewhere, that's crazy to me. Wig out. Wig out is not a very common phrase anymore. I think it was more common in the 80s and in the 90s. It's like freak out. To freak out, wig out, it means to get upset, right? I'm curious. Let me see something. Oh, that's interesting. So the original meaning of wig out when it was started in the 1950s, the original meaning was to engage in intense intellectual or emotional activity, like blowing your mind, right? So now we say your mind is blown, right? But apparently a long time ago, wig out was also like to blow your mind, right? I'm going to wig you out, which means like I'm going to blow your mind, right? And it still does mean that. Like when I just said that, I'm going to tell you something that's going to wig you out. That means I'm going to tell you something that's going to blow your mind, okay? But then in the 60s, the meaning changed and it meant to lose your cool or to get upset, right? He's wigging out, he's freaking out, he's flipping out. That all meant the same thing, like getting upset. Okay, don't wig out means don't get upset. Nah, I don't think that's true. Yeah. So there you go, wig out. What point is going to be crazy? I don't know what that means. Naria, that'd be nice. It'd be fun. Throughout my English teaching career so far, what stands out most in my memory? Probably last year when I got to travel to Europe for my first time. I've never been to Europe. I always wanted to go, and I went, and but I got to go. I went to Berlin, Germany, and my friend Gunter from Hello Talk, I stayed with him in his family, in his house for a week in Berlin, and it was amazing. It was unbelievable. And then I flew to Madrid and stayed with my friend Belen and her family for a week. It was amazing. Or 2 weeks. Yeah. So that's probably one of my best memories, was that I got to go meet some of my followers and my students, the people who like what I do, you know. Okay, if you are new, I'm not new, everybody. I have been on this app for about 15 years. Or, I'm sorry, 12 years. 12 years. And I have been live streaming here for about 5 years. And I have about 90,000 followers. Okay, so if you are new, please get this file. Everything that you need to know about me is in this file. Okay? So, Ahmed, copy that link and open it and get the file. Okay? My schedule is in the file. There are 4 articles about learning English in the file. My website, my YouTube channel, and my blog are in the file. So everything you need to know about me and what we do here is in that file. Please copy it and paste it and open it and read it. And I also would say that throughout my teaching career, what stands out is my favorite thing is when my students surpass me. When my students do better than me, that's the best. That's the best feeling. And I've had that happen a few times in my life. So I feel lucky that I've been able to teach people who have gone beyond me. Can you reach the peak of your life after graduating from junior college advertising? No. You can reach the peak of your life when you become a great human. That's when you reach the peak of your life. The peak of your life has nothing to do with money. The peak of your life has nothing to do with jobs. The peak of your life has to do with feeling complete. The peak of your life has to do with feeling like you are not a ball of problems anymore. That's the peak of your life. When you're not a ball of problems. Make yourself something else, not a ball of problems. Okay? Okay, guys, it has been about 2 hours. My stomach is making noises. I need to eat. I didn't eat breakfast today, so I need to go eat lunch. If you don't know who I am, please get the file. I'm usually here Monday through Friday, okay? I have been on this app for 12 years. 90,000 people follow me. Over 1 million people have watched me. And this is what I do, okay? So come watch, learn, listen, and ask me good questions. That is the thing that you need to understand. 5 days a week, I am here, and I'm a real teacher. So your job is to think about questions. Your job is to think about questions. So tomorrow, when you're working and you're doing whatever you're doing, if you think about a question to bring me, write it down. You know, I should ask Mark about present perfect. I should ask Mark about, American culture. I should ask Mark about first conditionals. I should ask Mark. Write it down and bring it to my stream. Okay? I have the answers. I'm the one with the answers, but I cannot give them to you until you ask me the questions. So your job is to come here with questions. And I will say that every time. Your job is to come here with questions. If you are a good student, good students have questions. And not lazy questions. How can I be good at English is not a good question. That's a lazy question. That's the laziest question. Okay? That tells me, if you ask me that question, if you say, how can I be good at English? I'll tell you what I know. Now I know you are lazy. Because you asked me the biggest question that you could because you don't want to ask anything else. You don't want to think. You don't want to think. You just want to ask the one big question and have me do all the work for you. No. Think of a question and come here and then ask me, and I will try to answer it. Okay, that's my job. Now, before I go, I'm going to do one last thing, which is to read my mantra of learning. This is the way I believe you should be. So look at this and read with me. This is what you should do as a student and as a human. On being human, a mantra for learning. I am a student first. I am always learning. I do not know everything. I am here to understand. I listen before I speak. I think before I answer. I follow the words, not the ego. I seek clarity, not control. My mind is not finished. It has been shaped over time. What is tangled, I will work to untangle. What is unclear, I will work to understand. I take responsibility for my growth. No one can do this work for me. If I am wrong, I will learn. If I am right, I will stay humble. I build my mind before my voice. I strengthen my thinking to strengthen my language. As I improve myself, I improve what I can give to others. I respect the process. I respect the work. Step by step, I become better. This is my responsibility. Okay? That is your responsibility. Okay? All right. So please make sure you follow. Come back and see me again. I'll be back tomorrow. Okay? And have a good morning. Have a good afternoon. Have a good evening wherever you are in the world. Okay? I'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys. I'll see you. Bye.